Hi, this is Joan, and this is a continuation of part 2 of the book of Lamech of Cain and Leviathan. Now, as a review or to say something about what was read yesterday, well, Lamech described himself as white. So before anybody starts trying to say that I'm saying something about it one way or the other, I'm not. I'm simply reading what was written on the page. And also remember, he also said that there was a curse of whiteness for 7 generations. So we're way beyond 7 generations. So anyway, do with that what you might. What you will. In any case, now we're on chapter 3, which is Yuval, the Rephaim, and the Leviathan. Lamech met Yuval, the giant, while walking the desolation of the land. Yuval's ways were tender, gentle, and delicate. And with Lamech, Yuval the giant was both kind and humble. Yuval's peaceful ways were different other giants of the land. Because of his nature, Yuval and Lamech soon became bound together in close friendship. Yuval the giant loved Lamech as much as he did his own life. Lamech learns to command Leviathan. And Yuval took Lamech to the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan coming up out of the sea having 10 horns upon his head. Doesn't that sound familiar? 10 horns and 7 heads. Here it's not talking about the 7 heads, but it's 10 horns upon its head. But let me continue. And Leviathan was broad on both sides and great, and Lamech and Yuval the giant were small in their midst, and looked up to Leviathan. Great flows of water arose like a storm. Leviathan was large as a mountain and covered with earth, plants, trees, and Lamech and Yuval the giant stood in awe of him and his female. For the movement of Leviathan was a big disturbance, and all who were about knew of his coming. And Leviathan was a large sea creature that was also seen on land, and Yuval provided and Leviathan with ample food, saying, Leviathan, you will have life for many years to come. Take your ease, drink, and enjoy yourself. Yuval then taught Lamech the ways of the Leviathan, and gave Lamech command over them, both male and female. And the Leviathan moved unscathed in all things, and had skin that could not be harmed or pierced by weapons of any kind. It was so that the Leviathan, male and female, would follow Lamech as a walking beast, and part of the Leviathan ate flesh and inner parts torn from the bones of the dead beasts of the earth. Leviathan protected Lamech on every side from the perversions of the land, and the lions and great wild beasts of old stayed away from Lamech and his lands. And it was so that if Lamech clapped his hands together, that the Leviathan would kill he whom Lamech instructed. Now, you might have heard about 2 sea creatures. I think one is Leviathan, another is the Behemoth, I think. And I will look that up. At least I'll try to remember to look that up. But these are creatures that Job mentioned. And I think Job is the oldest book in the Bible. So I just like to draw a comparison between them. And also in Revelations, it talks about the beast coming up out of the sea with his 7 heads and 10 horns. Again, this can be compared to what's written here. Also, if you remember, I think it's the book of Jasher, it may even be in the Bible, where it talked about Lamech clapped his hands and he allegedly accidentally killed his, I think it was his grandson, Tubal Cain. So here it's saying that it wasn't, because if you think about it, how could somebody clap their hands and kill somebody? Well, here it's giving what could possibly be an explanation, and that is that Lamech did not actually do the killing. His grandson, or whomever was he killed, because some people, I have read an explanation that it was actually Enoch, the righteous Enoch. But it's so many things that I want to pull up in reference to this, but there was a theory that Enoch, even though it said he went to heaven, he was called, he did not face death. The theory is that that was a euphemism for him actually being killed by Lamech, because Enoch was reprimanded him about having 2 wives. So this, where it says Lamech clapped his hands together, well, I told you that the animal, Leviathan, will clap his hands together and kill things, harm things. Well, in any case, he would kill things. And so that could be a further explanation for how Lamech killed his grandson, even though he was old and blind. And it says he clapped his hands, and that always puzzled me, like, wow, that thing must have really been strong. So let me continue on. It grieves Leviathan. Lamech then took fresh cut branches from poplar, gopher wood, and trees, and made white strips on them, peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branch. Now, if you remember, this also sounds very similar to what Jacob did when he was having issues with his father-in-law, cheating him. So he found a way to make the animals look a certain way, and the ones that he wanted looked a certain way based on him working with really the DNA. Now this is Genesis 29, and I'm trying to show you where Jacob, in defense against Laban changing his wages over and over again, used genetic manipulation, you could say. And let me find it. It is actually in Genesis 30, and I'm trying to get this page to turn. Actually, Genesis 30, and really starting at around 35, we start reading about how, not genetic manipulation, but how, I don't know, I guess you could say it's a modern version of CRISPR, where, well, I don't know how to describe it, but it's telling you how environment can influence genetics. So, let's see. And he set the rods which he had piled before the flocks in the gutters and watering trough where the flocks came to drink, and all that. Really, you could read 29 and 30 to show exactly how he did it, but what I wanted to show is that it is kind of similar to what happened or what has been recorded in the book of Lamech. Okay, Lamech then took fresh cut branches from poplar, gopher wood trees, and made white strips on them, peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branch. And Lamech then placed the peeled branches in the watering pit, so that they would be directly in front of the Leviathan when they came to drink. When the Leviathan came to drink, they made it in front of the branches, and they bore young that had horns and had spikes that were sharp to the touch. Lamech then gave the Leviathan offspring to Uval, and all that were born afterwards as payment for Uval teaching Lamech how to tame the Leviathan. Leviathan murders for Lamech. And Lamech, city of Enoch, demanded anyone that he saw, "Where did you come from, and what is your lineage?" For he did not understand how there were multitudes of descendants of Cain with the leprous white marking. And some men gave answers that offended Lamech, and he clapped his hands, and the Leviathan killed them, whether they were marked or not. Male and female, they killed them. And it was so that Lamech never raised a hand against another man. Leviathan did this bidding, which was not called murder, for Cain had murdered his bare hands. And Lamech considered the Leviathan that followed him with scales, could not be penetrated. And he said, "Leviathan, the invincible warrior, someday rise yourself and punish nations. Never be angry with men if they pray to you, for you will restore, and smiles upon us. Look down from your great evil height and take notice, for Leviathan is my strength, my personal bravery, and my invincible army. Leviathan makes my feet beast and walk terror of him. How Leviathan has helped me through all my trouble, suffering, and responsibility. All that saw Lamech, Uval, the giant, and the Leviathan were in awe of them. Okay, if you hear me stumble, it's because I don't want to add any words, and some of the words couldn't be translated. And also notice how Lamech is basically worshiping Leviathan. Okay, I'll have a review and then start with chapter 4.